guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ellen and I talk about all things houseplant related. I upload a new video every week, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and make sure your notifications are turned on so that you never miss a video. Now in today's video, we are going to be talking about this beautiful string of hearts. Right then guys, so I'm super excited to be talking to you today about one of my favourite plants, the string of hearts. Now this one in particular is a variegated string of hearts, which I absolutely adore. I love the white around the edges. I think it just looks absolutely stunning, and I love how pink they get underneath as well. But yeah, they're super beautiful. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about this plant today because I've had a couple of questions and things about this one recently on my Instagram, and I just wanted to put some care tips out there and make sure that your string of hearts are thriving as much as they should be. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is the light conditions for the string of hearts. So the string of hearts can live in a couple of different situations. It definitely doesn't need direct sunlight. It's quite happy in a east or west facing window. Mine in particular sits just to the left of an east facing window, so it gets the morning sunlight and then it just gets daylight through the window but no direct sunlight at all. So yeah, it's really happy. As you can see, there's no damage at all to it, and yeah, it's a very happy plant and it's growing brilliantly. The string of hearts can also live in darker situations, so it doesn't matter if you do have a slightly darker area for it. However, I would try and give it as much light as you can, but try and avoid any direct sunlight at all, especially sort of west facing direct sunlight, because that is much more harsh. And when you do put it in a certain light condition, just keep an eye on it for the first few weeks and just make sure that you're not getting any yellowing, browning or any dry leaves, especially up in the top area. This could also obviously be to do with watering, but from a light condition point of view, the plants will normally tell you if they're not enjoying that situation that you've put them into. The next thing we're going to talk about today is watering. So the best thing with the string of hearts is that they really do like to dry out in between waters. So don't worry if you leave it for 2-3 weeks before you water it. Just make sure that that soil is completely dry the whole way through, and they really do like to dry out, so don't worry at all. Then I just give it a really good soak through and then leave it to dry out again. So just check it after you've watered it to make sure that it's not sitting in any water at all. That's really important because if they are left sat in water, they will start to die. So I tend to leave mine for about 4 weeks in the winter period before I water it again, and about 3 weeks in the summer period. In the height of summer, if you live in a really hot area, I'd make sure I check it at least every week. But the watering, you'll probably only need to do it about every 2 weeks, even in those hot conditions, because you do need to really let it dry out. Because these aren't getting any direct sunlight, then they won't dry out as quickly as maybe some of your plants that are sat in a windowsill or something like that. Fertilising these plants is definitely something that you want to do. I wouldn't necessarily fertilise them through the winter period, although if your plant is really thriving and it's really growing well, then you can just pop a little bit of fertiliser in there every sort of couple of months. But during the summer period, I'd fertilise every single time I water, as I'm only watering every 3 weeks. If I was watering every 2 weeks, then I'd probably miss one in between and just fertilise every other, sorry. But yeah, fertilising is definitely something that you could do. Any normal houseplant fertiliser that you use for most of your plants would be absolutely fine for these string of hearts, and it really will just make them thrive and grow even more. So when it comes to propagation, I have actually recently propagated some of these, which you can see in my jars up here. We are going to be potting these in today, so we will do that shortly. However, I do just want to point you to the video where I actually took the propagation cuttings from this plant. You can go and check out over there how to propagate, and that will go through the process of where to cut and about leaving them out and things like that before you put them into water. With string of hearts, you can actually pop directly into the soil once you've taken the cutting, but I prefer water propagation because I like to see the roots growing. So because I really wanted to do this video today, I haven't necessarily left these in water as long as I would normally. However, as you can see, there are some roots growing on there, and they are quite good, nice length of roots. Don't know how well you can see that there. But yeah, so we are going to pop these in today. So I'm just going to take them out of the water and lay them down. Now, do be careful not to get them tangled up, because it will be a nightmare to pot them if they do get tangled. As you can see, I've just led my plant in this lovely little spiral today to make sure that it doesn't get tangled, because I spent about half an hour the other day just untangling it, and this is only a small string of hearts, so as it gets longer it will get much harder to do that. And you definitely don't want to be breaking them because they're so pretty, and once they start to break you start to lose leaves down the stems and it just looks a bit bare, so yeah, definitely do keep an eye on that. So I'm just going to move my little propagation stand there now that we've taken the cuttings out. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're actually just going to repot. So the bulbs on this plant have been showing for a little while now. I don't know if you can see, but there's just little bulbs inside here that sit at the bottom of the string of hearts that I've got here. And yeah, I mean, you can see how dry the soil is. Look, I really do let it dry out. But yeah, so if I just turn this round, so the bulbs are just here, look. So that's the nice plumpy bulbs that sit at the bottom of the stems. These ones that I'm potting in now should grow their own as they develop. And actually, if I untangle, see they're getting tangled already. If I untangle this one here, you can actually see on this one here that it's already started to grow a bulb at the base there. So that is the bit that we are going to pot. So yeah, that's amazing that it's doing that already. I've got some soil here that I have already mixed. This is just my normal houseplant potting mix that I do. It's quite a standard mix. I have done a video on it on my potting video of how I mix this, so do go and check that out. I'll link that up in my iCard and also in my description. But yes, I'm just going to shove some fresh soil in there. So the great thing about new soil is that it just revitalises the plant and gives it a little bit of nutrients, where this has actually been potted in this pot ever since I've got it, and I've had it for a good, I think I've had it for about a year now, so yeah. Right, so we're just going to lightly break this apart. I don't know how easily this is going to be to pot. It's got quite a lot of roots on it actually. So I'm just really going to shake out. I don't think it's going to be as easy to separate as I thought it might be. So let's just take some of that soil out actually, because we are going to have quite a lot of roots here to bury. So what I've done is I've just created a nice pit in the middle of my soil, and I'm just going to transfer this over. Try not to tangle. These really aren't easy plants to repot because the bulbs sit so close to the start of the leaves there that yeah, it can be quite difficult to repot. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to bury in this first, and then we can add the new cuttings separately, because I just really want to make sure that those bulbs do get buried down. I mean, you don't want to completely necessarily cover the bulbs, but it's just nice to not have them poking out at the top because it feels like the plant's going to fall out. But yeah, they were really loose before, so I just want it to be a bit more secure in there really. Just be careful not to bury any leaves because they will just rot. And especially the leaves at the top, they're normally so big and beautiful that that's the last thing you want to end up with. Perfect, so if I just, without tangling that, just show you there. So now all the bulbs are buried, so we're just going to go with that. And we are now going to start to put in the propagated cuttings. So you might find, so this is going into a terracotta pot. So with terracotta, you can find that the soil can dry out a little bit sooner. So I will be just keeping an eye on this over the next few days, just to make sure that it's not drying out too quick, and that if it is, then I will change my watering and maybe up it a little bit. So I'm now just going to take these cuttings, just make some little holes and bury those in. Now once these roots really dig into the soil, then it will be much more secure, but over the next few waters I will just be making sure that these don't fall out at all and that they are nice and secure in the soil. That's got quite a long bit on it. I should have cut that back when I first started, but that's fine. they don't literally need to be completely dug in all fairness, as long as they're just led over the top of the soil. However, I don't want them to fall out, so I am just going to bury them in a little bit. So like I said, just be careful once you have potted them in. You know, they can be quite hard to bury right down, and you don't want them to fall out. So yeah, just bury them in the best you can, but don't worry too much. They are a little bit loose. The roots will take hold and they will grip the soil. So that is my new string of hearts. As you can see with the propagated ones, they are a lot more pink, and they do have some really good white variegation on them, and that's because they've been sat under my grow light upstairs. So I will insert a clip here of the situation that they've been living in while they've been growing their roots. So I only took these cuttings 2 weeks ago, and the roots on them were great for only 2 weeks, and that is down to the grow light. So yeah, grow lights are a really good thing if you want to showcase your cuttings and get them going a little bit quicker. So there we are. As you can see, this one here has already got knotted up, but there is loads of new growth growing on the bottom of these now, so you can just see how well that light has been working. But yeah, so there we are. There is your string of hearts, and it is much more full. Hopefully this video has helped you to make your plants look beautiful, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you next time. Thanks, bye!